Hi everybody, nice back here again, and today we're going to have another inbox review. We're going to be looking at Airfix's Hunter. This is the FGA 9 FR10 GA11 version. Okay, and depicted on the box is the Hunter that flew under London Bridge. Okay, it was flown by Flight Lieutenant Alan Pollock. Okay. So this is a fairly new tooled kit, not massively old, but it's one of the newer kits. Some nice detail on it, I believe, but not up to the standard of the Buccaneers and the Ghana. So without further ado, we'll get you on overhead and we'll crack on. Okay, so starting with the instruction manual, as with any Airfix kit, you get a little bit of blurb at the top, a little bit about it, how big, how its range, its wingspan, all that sort of stuff. And you also get what it is in model size. So it's going to have a wingspan of 214mm and a length of 291mm. Okay. There's 3 schemes in this, which we'll look at in a bit. Flip over, we've then got the assembly instructions, and then we move straight into the build. This is all going to be Humbrol paints all the way through. That's the way Airfix does it. And as you can see, it's like their normal instructions now, where you've got the red bit for the bit you did before. Okay, so we've got the cockpit started, and we've got the bang seat, the injection seat, and you have 2 options. You have one without harnesses and one with harnesses, and then you add the top part to it. You then got the rear bulkhead going into the cockpit, and then the seat going into the cockpit, before you then are given all the control parts to put in, the instrument panel, and what looks like a sight, before then the front wheel well goes onto the cockpit floor. We then move into adding that into the fuselage with other little bits. We've then got a forward part of the nose. Okay, it doesn't mention so far. Oh, it comes up to here about the weight, which we'll talk about in a minute. We've then got the fan for the engine. Before we look at the intakes, and hopefully where the intakes are designed, there shouldn't be a massive seam just there. We've got one that goes in, then we move over to the other fuselage part. We put the other intake in, and then we move on to where it tells you to add some weight. It says 20 grams just there, and if you're doing option C, you need to fill in the gun ports for the 20mm cannon. We then move to the rear of the engine. So you can see we've got the exhaust with the fan, another fan going on, getting enclosed by the rear section of the fuselage, which then joins on to the main fuselage where we put the wings on. And then you've got different noses for the different versions, A, B and C. If you build an A and B, you need to drill out some parts. Same again on this one up here for the lower wings. We've then got the undercarriage going built. So that's for closed undercarriage. We then put the wings on with the open undercarriage. We've got the control surface for the tail. We've got flaps on here, whether you want them up or down, and it gives you the different angles needed. Other little bit of some parts. The other wing for the control surfaces. We then move on to building the undercarriage, working our way through. And then we move on to doing the undercarriage doors. Okay, so then it shows you what it should look like once complete. Wheels, 1 part wheels by the strip, which you insert the wheel hubs, and it looks like it's got weight on wheel, which is grand. We have the front wheel going in with the doors, these little bulges. I'm not sure what they were, but it may be for more fuel. We've got the air brake going on just up here, whether you want it open and closed, and a rester hook. And then we've got all the different loadouts, okay? And then going on like so. So you're only going to have the rocket pod if you are using them for option C. Again, then we move on to lights, pitot tubes, putting the canopy open or closed. Before we move on to the different markings. So we've got FRGA 9. This is the aircraft that flow under Tower Bridge. Okay, it's let's have a look. Dark sea grey, dark green, and light aircraft green. Okay, with a patch of white on the actual wingtips. We've then got our stencil data before we then move on to FR10. So this was from Guttles Show in West Germany in 1961. And then we've got Fleet Requirements Aircraft Detection Unit from Somerset 1971. Okay, and that one's a satin dark extra sea grey over a white belly. And then we've got the stencil data for that one as well. So that's the instructions. Let's move straight on to the plastic. Not many parts really. Okay, as you can see, it's a decent grey plastic. It's not the cheap, I'm not saying cheap, it's not the normal bluey grey plastic that's really soft. This is a, I don't know how, I've not actually worked with this for a while. The last one I did was the Tomahawk in this, and you can see we've got some nice detail all over, no rivet detail whatsoever. Okay, so that might be something you look at adding yourself. The intakes, we've got the 2 fans just there, which look okay. The tail, if we turn it over, we've got no detail whatsoever really on the internals, apart from some ribs here and the engine down there. Again, there's nothing in there, which could be a lot of detail could be added in there. Next through up is another part for the engine, so some more fans, the arrestor hook. So this is going to be for option C. Okay, other than maybe adding the air brake, if that's an option from all. Next up, we have got some of the fuel tanks, some of the flaps, and the doors, undercarriage doors. Again, not massive amounts of detail. Okay, so a little bit on the actual fuel tanks. Then we move into the cockpit. So you can see the seat there with the harnesses on. The one way out, we have an instrument panel. Not that many bits and bobs in there, so that could be right for adding some 3D decals or some photo etch. We've got our wheels just here, and that's the hubs there, which are really nicely done. That's one hub, that's the other hub. Our pylons, parts of our undercarriage bay, the doors for the undercarriage. Okay, they are going to be the one-piece ones, so when you are, if you build this with wheels up, we've got our instrument panel just there. Some nice little details, not overly detailed, but like I said, this is not in the same design philosophy as what they are releasing at the moment. Okay, and then we've got another one with a part that's come off just there. Okay, so we've got upper wings, lower wings, some more fuel tanks, the rockets. Okay, and part of the control surfaces. So again, not much detail really. Okay, let's turn it over. We have a little bit more detail actually in the wheel wells, but other than that, nothing really to write home about. And that leads us on to the decals. Okay, so we have the decals here. These are normally printed by Cartograph, and you know, you can't really go wrong with them. Really thin, nice and shiny. So I can't envision you having a problem with these at all. And sorry, I forgot to look at the clear parts. Okay, as with any Airfix, really, nothing really wrong with their clear parts. Normally, generally very good, though this one's got a few scratches on, because they do tend to put it all in a bag, but this one was in a bag on its own, so that might have caused that. But other than that, you know, nothing to write home about. So that's Airfix Hunter in 1/48. A nice looking kit, if a little bit basic. I don't believe there's another one in this scale. I know Revel do a 1/32 one, and I'm pretty sure somebody does a 1/72 one. But in this scale, I don't think there is another one, and this is my scale, so I'll be looking forward to actually building this at some point. Plus, it fits in with the rest of my Cold War era jets that I'm looking at getting, and whatever. So it slots nicely in that, because it was the first proper swept wing aircraft for the RAF, I believe, because the Vampire and the Venom, they were straight wing twin engined twin boom aircraft. Okay, yeah, so that's Airfix Hunter. Nice kit, not too expensive, about £38–40 ish, and I think it goes together rather well. Anyway, that's it for me. I'll see you on the next one. Bye for now.